friends, welcome to episode 48 of Last Stitch Effort. My name is Pacasha and this is my little knitting podcast about using up my stash and buckling down and really doing it this time. Not this time. I've been saying that for a long time. You know what I mean. Anyway, we have a lot to kind of talk about today, or I have a lot to share with you today, rather. Right now I'm not wearing any knitwear, so we can just bypass that part. I think I'll go ahead and talk about Tour de Fleece, because I did wind up my completed skeins and wash them and figure out yardage and stuff. So let's do that. Okay, so the first thing I think I finished was before Tour de Fleece, but just to kind of get things moving. But I know I talked about it, but I hadn't washed or, finished my skeins. So this is now finished. This is Quillin Fiber Arts. I don't know the name of the colorway. And this is about 257 grams. So what is that? About almost 8 ounces exactly. And I got 350 yards. So it came out at about 11 inches, or wraps per inch, which is a worsted. Now to me it kind of has more of an aran. I feel like it's going to be a little bit thicker, but that's only because what's called the grist, which is the weight, the heaviness of the length of yarn. I don't know. Anyway, it's a little bit denser than, say, your typical like commercial worsted or aran weight. So I'm not sure. I think it'll knit up at a heavy worsted or an aran. I could probably do worsted, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. So yeah, so that one's nice and finished. The next one I want to show you, I got a few patchwork bags from Hello Yarn, which are just kind of oddballs, like leftover in the dyeing process or whatever. So you don't really know like what fibers you're going to get or even what colors you're going to get. Adrian from Hello Yarn does post that online, but it's not an exhaustive like listing. So they're kind of surprise little things. But anyway, I had 2 bags and I kind of pulled out some similar feeling yarns, not necessarily color wise, and you'll see like there's a lot of blue in that middle skein, but anyway, these are the 3 finished skeins that I have. And total, sorry, my notes are down here. I have 743 yards. I got 12 wraps per inch, which puts it, at worsted. Once again, I think it's maybe denser. We'll see what it's like when I knit it up. And I have 584 grams. So that's kind of a lot. So I think that was a successful spin. Super pretty. And I did no color management at all. I just grabbed and spun and plied it however I felt like it. So should be interesting how that will knit up. And so the other thing that I worked on in Tour de Fleece was a fiber that I started several months ago. And it's half Southern Cross Fibers in Flapper, which is an old colorway, special order colorway. And it was on Oatmeal BFL. And the other half is Lantern by Hello Yarn, and that was on a BFL Tussah silk. So I had 2 bags of each, so 8 ounces of each, and I was spinning it as fine as I could, so it was taking a long time, but I ordered myself a little treat. It's actually a birthday present and Christmas present and every possible holiday present from my husband. It's a Magic Craft rose. And so when that came in towards the end of Tour de Fleece, I decided to take 2 halves of the plies and ply them on the new machine just to kind of try it out. And so this is the yarn that I'm doing. It's not exciting colors, but they're like awesome, amazing colors. Lots of barber pulling, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but I'm kind of loving it in this. And I was trying to spin as thin as possible, and it did all right, but it did like puff up more than I expected. I was going for lace weight, a lace weight 2-ply, but I think I'm more in the light fingering, possibly even fingering. I still think it's gonna knit up like a light fingering depending on, you know, needle size and project. Oop, I just dropped it. So anyway, there's like 840 yards or something crazy like this in this, and this is less than half, so I still have a ton to spin still. I'm not even finished with the singles yet, so this is definitely a super long-term spin, but I think it's really pretty. I think I might make a Viajante by Martina Behm. I've always wanted to make one of those. I do have a skein of Volmeise in my stash that I bought specifically for one, but something about a handspun one just, and in these like hobbity colors, like nice earth tones, like I feel like this is not quite not elven cloak, more like dwarven cloak, because it's more rock colors versus greens. Anyway, I'm pretty proud of that. So yeah, still working on that. The new wheel is amazing, by the way. It was quite a splurge, but I do enjoy spinning, and I haven't really had a lot of motivation for it. And this new wheel is just, it's quiet, it runs smoothly, I don't have to fight anything, which I really wasn't before, but my other wheel, it was just worn and older, and it was getting hard to find parts for it. So I have a Fricky double treadle, and I don't even know like if they even make them anymore or sell them anymore. I know if you needed parts, you had to like call them, and I don't know, they didn't have an online presence, and I very much like just want to write an email or buy online or whatever. But anyway, yeah, it served me well for many years, and it is still an excellent wheel. I just upgraded a little bit. Okay, so let's do finished objects before we, I want to show you this. This is the entire bag that I have left to spin just for singles, and then I have to ply, and the plying took a good several hours for that first skein. So yeah, I have a lot of work to do to finish up that spin, but I'm really motivated to do it because since it's a new wheel, I kind of want to put everything on it and spin everything. So anyway, so before I move on to finished objects, I want to share my total grams in my stash with you, because I know I talked about this last time, that I'm really going to focus on actually working on this stash and stop slipping up and stop being emotional with my spending. I do have a lot of like life-changing things coming up, so I'm trying to focus as much as I can and be very like discerning and disciplined with how I'm managing lots of things, not just yarn in my life, but lots of things. So I wanted to go ahead and give you numbers. These are the highest numbers yet. I mean, I started doing this however many years ago, like really probably 10 years ago, probably even closer to when I started knitting over 20 years ago. And I just let it get out of control. And now, so these are probably my highest numbers yet. It does condense down into this unit that I want it to, with a few exceptions, you know, projects coming up and things like that, and spinning fiber. But yeah, I would like it all to fit nicely in here, not just crammed in. And I would like a lot less. So the total grams I have right now is 55,997 grams of yarn, which is, to give you an idea, an approximate 1,126. I can't read that because I don't have my glasses on. Balls, like 50-gram balls of yarn. So like, I think that's a 50-gram ball. Like, so some things are 100 grams, you know how it is. I've talked about it before. So that's a lot. That's a lot. And that's after all of my FOs that I have finished this month too. Like, I'm keeping track. Now, the reason I want to bring this up now, in between the spinning and the actual like knitting projects, I don't really know how to deal with handspun. Typically I have added it to this stash before, and it does go into my stash in Ravelry as, you know, an actual yarn in my stash. But I'm kind of feeling it might be discouraging after making all this progress to add all of this yarn in, but it is still stash. I don't want to discourage myself from using my yarn, and I definitely don't want to leave it out of the stash and then not knit with it because it doesn't actually affect my stash, and that's what I'm being driven by, are those numbers. So I don't know, like, if I should just do it and deal with it, that's fine. Like, I don't get the guilt that I get adding commercial yarn. Yeah, so I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's going to be discouraging or not, and that's the thing. I really want to keep myself motivated to progress. So if you have ideas on that or whatever, let me know. I probably will go ahead and add it, but we'll see. We'll see what happens next time. So let's do FOs. I forgot my sock blockers, so my socks aren't going to look great. But we'll start with the big one first. So I finished this sweater for my daughter, Nayo, who's awesome. This is Gudrun Johnston's Snarravoe from Shetland Trader, Book 2, I believe. Book 2 or Book 3? I think it's Book 2. So I did add a little bit of yoke depth, about, I think I said an inch last time, without doing the increases. We just needed a little bit more length in there. And it's a nice boat neck. It doesn't have, you know, short rope for the back of the neck or anything, but it's actually like designed that way and quite flattering that way, and I think she loves it, so that's all that matters. And it has these really cute sleeves that I don't know if I was supposed to go down needle size, or if the pattern didn't say, but I don't know. It flares out, but it looks really great on her. And so that's all done, and that used about 3.5 balls, a little over 3.5 balls of Premier Yarns Stitch Please worsted in All Bats Are Off. It is a super affordable yarn. It is holding up, like, with all the moving around that I've done with this project. I don't think it's gonna pill at all, ever. It's kind of amazing yarn. It's not the softest, but it's not unpleasant. She's gonna wear a shirt with this underneath anyway. It's just a super affordable, like, high value yarn, in my opinion. We'll see what happens. I mean, I have blocked it, and the stitches still look just as good as when I knit them. There is a slight halo, but that's just the yarn. It's not like anything that happened after washing. So we'll see how wearing affects this yarn. But right now I'm pretty happy with that. And that's good, because when it was like 40% off or something crazy like that, I bought a ton of it. So that's obviously going to get used up, hopefully fairly soon. My husband is a big fan of this pattern that I just finished, and he wants one very similar too. So you may be seeing another one of those, maybe a little less lace down the front. Definitely not the little lace panels on the side. But I don't know. It's not, he doesn't care if it is lacy. I don't feel like it's I don't want to get into like gender issues, like we don't care, but I don't know if that's the right design for him. Maybe it is. I don't know. He loves it anyway, so maybe I will just do this for him next. But yeah, great pattern. Super easy to knit. I think it would make maybe not a good first sweater just because you're dealing with twisted rib stitches and some lace patterning. But maybe a good second or third sweater for sure. It was very nice shaping, and it's super adorable on my daughter, so very happy with that project. Anyway, so another thing I'm doing for her, she's going off to college this week. I've been knitting some socks for her, and I'm gonna probably mail them out in pieces. I think that's how I've decided to do it, because she doesn't have a whole lot of room to take everything right now. Like, I have this big box of socks for her. So I did finish this pair from Nekonorb, I'm not sure, who is no longer dyeing yarn, but I have noticed that they've posted on Instagram a little bit lately. This color is part of the her Dungeons and Dragons series, and this is the Druid colorway, and it came with a mini, but I held off on the mini because I'm going to make myself a pair of socks with this, but with using the mini for the heels, toes, and cuffs. So those are for my daughter. And these, when I make a pair of socks, they usually go between 50 and 60 grams. We have relatively small feet, so it just kind of depends on how crazy I get with the leg. So, and then the next pair, I wanted to do a really, really scrappy pair and use up all those weird little balls that are like 2 to 5 grams in the bottom of my sock knitting bag. So I used some leftover from a pair last episode as the cuffs, and also as essentially the main color throughout, and then I just changed out different colors. I did them 2 at a time, not on the same needle, on 2 sets of DPNs. But yeah, so I would do this, and I would carefully like weigh and measure everything. Like I knew that I needed, I have it written down somewhere, like the exact length I needed and weight I needed for each thing that I did, each row. And then I did heels and toes in this color, which I don't even remember what it is. It's really old yarn. And I did use up several little balls. There are still those lingering little bits, but yeah, I have plans for a lot of them, so it'll be okay. It'll be okay. So yeah, that is 2 pairs of socks and a sweater. I think that's a pretty good 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, I guess, really. So let's get into works in progress. So I am still working on her blanket that's supposed to go off with her this week, but I'm about halfway through. I'm making the Nectar. Oh, by the way, I meant to say there was no pattern for those. Those are just the sock pattern that is just in my head that I just use for us. So anyway, this is the Nectar blanket by Ysolda Teague. So like you tighten up, I need to tighten up the middle bit and whatever, and it's a bunch of like hexagons that you connect, and I am using a slow color change yarn. I feel like I've talked about this so many times because I've been working on it for months, and then I put it down for months, and I shouldn't have. I'm kind of challenging myself to do like 1 block a day, which is kind of difficult. I mean, it's not a difficult pattern, but you do have to pay attention, and if it's late in the day, then I have a hard time. This yarn is pretty splitty, and it can get quite like discouraging, a project this big. Let me show you the yarn. So it's just wheels of yarn like this, and it's King Kole Curiosity DK. Just a nice one that hopefully will wash and wear okay. I don't know, it's not plied, so I'm kind of thinking it may pill quite a bit, and this may be not the best thing. I'm getting nervous now, and I really should just plow on and keep going. So according to the schematic that my husband Mark did in AutoCAD, because the pattern code like is essentially for baby blankets. So we wanted something bigger. Yeah, so he worked out how many I would need, and I've decided that when I connect them, I'm not going to do the half and, you know, the odd shapes. It's going to have an irregular border all the way around, and then I'm just going to like seam them up. I'm not going to like crochet anything or nothing fancy. There's not going to be any stashing or anything like that. Yeah, so anyway, Mark worked it out that I would need like so many of this shape and so many of this shape, and I've decided I'm just going to go with the full-size blocks and just let that be it. Yeah, so I'm about halfway. Yeah, I'm trying not to get too discouraged because I know it will be a well-loved project, and that's kind of why I'm doing this, you know. If I don't love it or somebody else doesn't love it, then kind of what's the point? It's just a waste of time and resources, right? Anyway, I'm also working on another pair of socks for Nayo. I have finished the first sock, and this pattern is called the Broken Seed Stitch. Hanna, I can't remember her last name. It's one that I can't pronounce anyway, but it will be listed below. I do list everything below. I don't do links, so you're not taken to Ravelry against your will or anything. But everything is Googleable. So anyway, I'm over halfway on this next one. I turned the heel in the car yesterday. Oh, and I just dropped everything, but that's okay. So this is a Yarnsmiths, just a merino sock. And these leftovers are a sparkle yarn from Gnomeacres, who no longer dyes yarn, and the colorway is Bertie Bots. And I will not be finishing either of those colors, unfortunately. These are Scrappy socks. Like, I've made full socks of both of these colors before, and I'm still going to have quite a bit left over. But once again, I have some plans. We'll see. I'll talk about those later. I was going to say that's it, but that's not it. I decided to cast on something just for funsies. Not for funsies. I've been planning this for a while. I've actually spun this for this. And I don't know about you guys, if you're a spinner, I have a hard time like actually using my spun yarn. I put it away because it's like precious, or I don't know. It's either precious or I'm insecure about it. I don't like how it turned out, or I just don't know how to use it. I'm not sure. There was a time when I would make so many hats, and oh, it was great. Like, I was getting out those little 4-ounce bumps left and right by making hats, and then leftovers. I made a I was gonna tell you a blanket that I made, and I can't remember the pattern. So maybe I'll hold off on that. Maybe I'll bring it on sometime and show you all my blankets that I've made. But anyway, so last year, or this winter, I spun a whole bunch of like merino type wool, mostly from Southern Cross Fiber, and then a few from Hello Yarn. And there's actually some silk in here too, and there's mostly superwash merino though, for the most part. And they're all kind of similar colors, but not really. And I just did 2-ply, and they're kind of a worsted aran weight, more aran I think. Seems to be what I'm spinning by default lately when I want a thicker yarn. So I started I started a night shift shawl, which was always the plan with this yarn. There's several more skeins down here, by the way. But the thing is, I was like really engrossed. I know I was watching The Gilded Age and a bit of Naked and Afraid. The last one standing, I think, is what I've been watching. So I get like really distracted quite easily, and I didn't really follow the pattern, but my numbers worked and it still doesn't look bad, so I'm not going to worry too much about it. But this is Night Shift by Andrea Mowry. And if you really look and if you know the pattern, you know like that I messed up, with my big blips and little blips. But whatever. This is the start of it. It's going to be mostly kind of these colors, but I do like the bits of super dark colors in red. It's going to turn up every now and then. So yeah, I don't work on this unless I have done my piece of Nayo's blanket, the Nectar blanket for the day. So usually I'm pretty loopy by that time. Anyway, yeah, so that's what I've been working on. So that's it. I probably won't have a whole lot. I mean, if I can finish that shawl, that would be some nice yardage out, grammage out. Yeah, I do it by grams. So, and this handspun actually was included in my stash, so I'm not like cheating by using handspun and taking that out of my totals. I'm always messing with my eyes. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's what's been going on. So lots of knitting and lots of spinning, and really loving the spinning part right now. It's really hard to be motivated to do the other stuff. However, I did slow that down by working on this never-ending lace spin. Because I have also been, when I first got it and, like assembled the wheel, I just pulled some plain undyed stuff from the stash just to mess with it. So that one was actually fun. Usually, like, when spinning very plain, boring, basic yarn or singles is exciting, that was a good wheel. That was a good purchase to make. I don't know about that. It probably wasn't the smartest thing to do to spend money on, but I did it. I love it. It's so awesome. Yeah. So you'll probably be seeing a lot more hand spinning on here. I'm not super technical about it, so I'm probably not going to be like a wealth of knowledge. I just kind of do it intuitively. Yeah, that's where we're at. So hopefully I'll talk to you guys soon, barring anything crazy happening. So I hope you're well, and I hope you're working on something that you're enjoying. Oh, I did want to say this counts as sweater number 1 for my 12 sweaters to make. My little project is to do 12 sweaters, 12 shawls or cowls, 12 hats, 12 pairs of mittens or something for your hands. I'm missing something. And then I know I have just like a random project thing. So things like that blanket or toys or something like that would fit in there. Oh, and socks. I think I'm going to up it to 24 socks because I did finish 2 pairs of socks, which I am counting as part of those numbers. So 12 of everything, 24 socks, before I'm even remotely allowed to look at other yarn. And I have to use stuff from stash. Like, I can't buy things to go with stash for that to count. Like, I need to find something using what I already completely have. I think I do have one exception to that, and I think I talked about it last time, but there's a pair of mittens that I've been wanting to make for years, and I've talked about them many, many times before. It's the fiddlehead mittens, which I've made several times by Hello Yarn, Adrian from Hello Yarn. And I have the main colors, because it's a color work mitten. I have the main colors, but I really wanted a specific mohair And my friend Alicia, who is Edmiston Creations on here, has quite a lot of leftover mohair, and she has agreed to let me look and see if there's something that I might want there. I think what she has is more Surrey, and I'm looking for more mohair silk, just a thinner like lining for this mitten. It also doesn't really have to have the lining, and I do have things that could work, but that would be probably the only exception at all to this challenge. So I'm hoping that that keeps me from buying anything. I think it will. I'm pretty, now that it's out there, now that I've told you guys about it, I feel like I can't really stray. And I have not bought yarn. I am a member of Hello Yarn Fiber Club, only because like I was for years, and I didn't spend a whole lot, but I did like to spend. I mean, I got out of it, and then they had yeah, that's my allowance right there. Like, fiber is to me totally different than yarn. I don't feel like I do have a lot of fiber, but I don't have the problem that I have like with this. So, and it's only 4 ounces a month. That's not bad. But yeah, no yarn clubs, no souvenir yarn, no anything. So yeah, that's it. Anyway, hope to talk to you guys soon. Let me know what you're working on down below. I love hearing about it. Yeah, that's it. Bye guys. Oh, love you.